Check out this hotspot video I did right quick, fast, and in a hurry.
Oh, this man Trump thing, he's slick. I see you, playboy, out here trying to collect that $10 million bounty for yourself. Or at least I hope that's the case. Otherwise, you better have a damn good explanation as to why you out here rubbing shoulders with a literal terrorist. While Trump was in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, he met with the president of Syria. And I use the word president very loosely. Now, normally, most people wouldn't perceive it as a big deal that one president of one of the most powerful nations in the world is meeting with another president. However, Ahmed al-Sharia was a literal terrorist. And this literal terrorist, who had a $10 million bounty on his head, was made the president of Syria after the United States and its allies helped to overthrow the Syrian government of Bashar al-Assad. So after a meeting with this literal terrorist, Trump decided to lift all sanctions on Syria. And when asked in an interview how Trump feels about this new president, who is indeed a terrorist, he said that he has a very, very strong past. And if Erdogan likes him, then so does he.
How did you find the Syrian president?
Right. I think very good. Young, attractive guy, tough guy. Yeah. Strong pass. Very strong pass fighter. Holding it together. I spoke with President Erdogan. I'm very friendly with it. He feels he's got a shot.
Because everybody knows Erdogan is known for his astute and acute judgment of moral character. Now, it's important to realize that Trump lifted these sanctions after the United States and its allies have been bombing Syria, have been robbing Syria, have been giving pieces of Syrian land to Saudi Arabia, have been giving pieces of Syrian land to Israel. I mean, they're lifting these sanctions just a couple of weeks after this president got done massacring his own people, oppressing religious minorities in the region. And the reason Syria had these sanctions put on them is because the United States and its allies accused the former president, Assad, of all of the things this literal terrorist is actually guilty of. The only difference in Syria politically between then and now is that a former leader of Al-Qaeda and ISIS is the president. We don't know if they will ever hold elections again. This current president has made it clear he refuses to fight Israel no matter how much territory they steal from the Syrian people. Oh, and once again, he's a literal terrorist. I mean, a literal terrorist. So MAGA, unfortunately for you guys, I think it's pretty safe to say that Trump isn't actually after the $10 million bounty. But what's more important to consider is the message that's being sent by the United States and its allies. You see, the United States sanctions in some way, form, or fashion just about a third of the world's population. Trump recently cut off all trading ties with South Africa based off of a racist policy that doesn't exist and a genocide that isn't happening, all because the president signed an anti-apartheid policy. The United States is currently sanctioning Burkina Faso's military, trying to impede them from fighting the terrorists that the United States and its Western allies undoubtedly put there to try and take the government back. And I mean, every week, they're trying to come up with a new reason to sanction Iran for a nuclear weapons program they literally have zero proof exists. Or the sanctions they put on Venezuela, or the money that they stole from them for having the audacity, I mean the unmitigated gall, to want to nationalize their oil supply and make sure that the money is spent on the people of Venezuela instead of multinational corporations from the United States. And the list goes on and on and on. So the message the United States is sending is that if you put a president in charge who was a former leader of a terrorist organization who was willing to oppress religious minorities and ethnic minorities and give Israel whatever they want when they want, then you ain't got nothing to worry about, dog. We'll lift them sanctions right off you. I just got one question for you MAGA folks. Is this what y'all meant by make America great again? Rubbing shoulders and shaking hands with a terrorist who undoubtedly took American lives? Because if that's the case, then we got two completely different definitions of what it means to be great. Because man like me, I don't get down with terrorists. You will not find me busting out the two-step at Club Al-Qaeda anytime soon. Just saying. But clearly we can't say the same thing for your president.
Yeah, man. So I'm not gonna lie. This whole situation with Trump and Saudi Arabia got me a little confused as to where people stand on what they expect from Trump. Because don't get me wrong, right? So like this meeting that he had with the Prince of Saudi Arabia and the president of Syria, like leading to lifting sanctions. Under normal circumstances, I would be cheering for that because I'm against sanctions. However, like I said in the video, this president is literally guilty of all of the things, guys, all of the things that they accuse Bashar al-Assad of, all of the reasons that they tried to justify overthrowing the government of Bashar al-Assad. Everything. And somehow there were negotiations had and a conversation had, and a dictator, I don't know how else to call it, he's a prince, he's a monarch. He convinced Trump to let the man who won't even hold elections be free of the sanctions that Assad had to try and govern his country under. And there are people cheering for this, knowing that effectively we're only relieving him of these sanctions because he's a U.S. puppet. And he's a U.S. puppet because he's part of a terrorist organization the United States helped create. Okay. So are y'all, and it's a U.S. puppet that the United States helped create. And this man, I don't know if y'all are aware of this, but in March, I think it was March of this year, right after he was put in power, basically, they passed a law where basically there will be a Sharia law, and which is why you saw the uprising. Now, the reason why is because they were already worried about how ethnic minorities would be treated in Syria. People don't realize this, but Assad was a secular president. In other words, it was just laws that govern the country, not necessarily Sharia law. I don't really have a problem with how people choose to go. I don't feel like that's any of our business. However, I do find it inconsistent is what I'm saying, because the secular president had sanctions put on him. But Trump, after somebody put a terrorist, literal terrorist, a former leader, guy who had $10 million on his head because he was a terrorist, he implements Sharia law. Then, his government is responsible for killing a bunch of people after that. And people are cheering as if Trump achieved a goal. No, that would be actually maintaining the status quo. And I don't think people understand that. Since when do we punish our puppets? I'm going to say it again. It is maintaining the status quo, because since when do we punish our puppets? We sanction the military of Burkina Faso as they're actively fighting against terrorist organizations, multiple, which doesn't make any sense because we're supposedly trying to fight. That's what the U.S. said we want to do, right? That's what the West said they like to do. They like to fight terrorists. So why would you then sanction specifically the military of Burkina Faso, for example, while they're trying to fight terrorists? Oh, that's right, because you probably put them there. And you don't want them to succeed because you want them to overthrow the government so France can get their money back and their gold back and continue to take advantage of what was once one of the poorest countries in the world. You literally cut off trade ties with South Africa just a few weeks ago and shipped a bunch of white people from South Africa to the United States. Why? Because of a policy of some racist persecution that you swear exists, never showed any proof of, and because it doesn't exist. And because the president signed a policy. It wasn't him who passed it. It was the legislature that passed it. But he signed an anti-apartheid policy. And you whine, bitch, complained, and moaned about it. and cut trade ties off with him and with South Africa, and said you're gonna stop sending helping them with their medical initiatives and things like that, and threatened sanctions on them. Okay, their president isn't a terrorist, nor are they sponsors of terrorists, nor have their president been responsible for killing its own citizen. Okay. Iran, you want to sanction? Oh, shit, there's already sanctions on Iran. Like I said in the video, they come up with new reasons to sanction Iran every day because of a program for a nuclear weapon that there's never been any proof of, and his own administration admits there is not any viable proof that they're even trying to initiate a nuclear weapons program. And as I was taught the other day by Dr. Wilmer Leon, I didn't realize that that was actually based in their following of the Quran. They will never make nuclear weapons. Because remember, I was always confused. I'm like, bro, if it was me, I would have been made a nuclear weapon, because Iran is always under attack by somebody on behalf of Israel and the United States. And he's like, the reason that their calculations seem off is because they won't do it because of their religion. They strongly believe that anything that could cause that type of fallout that would endanger innocent lives is haram. Like, they can't do it. So you're sanctioning all those countries for doing the right thing. And the puppet, you take the sanctions off after he passed Sharia law, after, ladies and gentlemen, he gets caught killing a bunch of people. After, ladies and gentlemen, he was supposed to announce a new election. Like, when the elections will start, we don't know. Oh, just kidding. They're not going to be any. And now that he has the sanctions taken off of Syria, he has no incentive on holding elections. And they used to say that Assad was stealing elections. Y'all remember that? Because I remember. They used to say Assad was stealing elections. And that was part of the reason they put sanctions on him back then. Interesting that. So then, in amongst all this is within the same time frame, Trump then gives a speech in Saudi Arabia about the UAE. And politically, I will admit, it was a smooth speech politically. Here's what Clinton Russ said about it. And I like Clinton, by the way, because he's a straight shooter for the most part. Even though I don't agree with everything he says, his objective perception of what's happening in the moment is genuinely pretty spot on. He says, whoever wrote this speech deserves a raise. Trump is embracing nationalism and non-intervention, at least on paper. Most importantly, he's demolishing the entire legacy of neoconservatism. Once again, at least on paper or in speeches. Mark Levin, Ben Shapiro, Dave Rubin are going to have aneurysms. Good. So let's see what he had to say.
And it's crucial for the wider world to note this great transformation has not come from...
Oh, hold on one second.
And it's crucial for the wider world to note this great transformation has not come from Western interventionists or flying people in beautiful planes giving you lectures on how to live and how to govern your own affairs. No, the gleaming marvels of Riyadh and Abu Dhabi were not created by the so-called nation builders, neocons, or liberal nonprofits like those who spent trillions and trillions of dollars failing to develop Kabul, Baghdad, so many other cities. Instead, the birth of a modern Middle East has been brought by the people of the region themselves, the people that are right here, the people that have lived here all their lives, developing your own sovereign countries, pursuing your own unique visions and charting your own destinies in your own way. It's really incredible what you've done. In the end, the so-called nation builders wrecked far more nations than they built, and the interventionists were intervening in complex societies that they did not even understand themselves. They told you how to do it, but they had no idea how to do it themselves. Peace, prosperity, and progress ultimately came not from a radical rejection of your heritage, but rather from embracing your national traditions and embracing that same heritage that you love so dearly.
So now monarchy and Sharia law is good. I just want to now I don't have a look, like I said, I'm not the person that likes to get involved with other people's business. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just trying to understand what do they support and not support now? What does Trump and his supporters actually support? I'm confused. Because at first I was told that that their culture is literally the problem, right? Like, isn't that what they say about like, all the problems in the UK is those damn Muslim immigrants, those damn, it's them, it's those brown people. And now Sharia law and literal monarchy and dictatorship is actually good culture. I'm confused, is all I'm saying. And also, this speech is full of lies, and I'm gonna explain why in a second. Well, look at him, he just clapping. Yeah, you better you tap dance for me, monkey. Look at him. Bro. Yeah, I know. I saw the YMCA. That shit was hilarious. Yeah, so first of all, let me just say, whenever the United States makes these claims that they support and only support democracies, you can show them that speech. You can show them the handshake between Prince Saudi Arabia and Donald Trump literally doing a handshake to YMCA in the background, which is nuts because it's like the gay anthem of gay anthems, and it's like a gay anthem being played while Donald Trump, a Republican, is shaking hands with the Prince of Saudi Arabia. Bro, it's like a South Park skit. You can't make that up if you wanted to, bro. Like, for real, right? So there's that. But I want you all to, he says, oh, look at what could happen whenever you allow a country to pursue its self-determination without intervening. Unlike bad, because he pointed out where we did intervene and it was problematic, which is true. But it's because of the way we intervene that it became problematic. Genuinely helping a nation through bilateral cooperation, or in some cases just literally giving them every advantage while taking the advantage away from other countries. Like, if you're genuinely helping a nation, they're going to prosper. If they have good politics and do right by their people. And it's, if you're actually doing just the bare minimum and you don't have intervention from the US, it's usually pretty hard to fail, to be completely honest with you. But then there are some countries that manage to succeed in spite of the US, and they become even more dangerous, and you got to intervene with those countries. Now, the UAE, which is a federation of, I think, 7 countries, and then Saudi Arabia, he's saying that we didn't intervene, that we had none. It's just them, and it's their culture, it's their investments, it's exclusively their decision making that helped them prosper. I want to be clear about something. This is why I say Trump is kissing the ring, not only with the UAE, or excuse me, with Saudi Arabia, with the UAE, Qatar. I mean, Danny Boy has got a $400 million jet. Jumbo jet. But like I said, even as illegal as hell, joke's on him, it's a Boeing. So odds are, if he takes one too many long flights, we gonna be calling Vice President Vance President Vance here pretty soon. So just remember, it's a Boeing. So I don't know how often you want to be on that thing. Anyway, but I say he kissed the ring because that whole speech is he's full of shit. Do you know, we just announced $200 billion in investments and aid to the UAE. We have one of our largest bases in the Middle East, in Qatar. Actually, the UAE also, we cooperate militarily with them. We give them billions of dollars in military aid. We assisted Saudi Arabia in the genocide of Yemenis people as they took their land. We assisted Saudi Arabia as they took land from Syria. Now, whenever Saudi Arabia once or twice stepped out of line and did something we didn't like perhaps join BRICS, for example, they refused to renew that petro contract with we didn't try to overthrow their government. So all the benefits that they got from working with the United States remained, but the negatives that come with the United States trying to overthrow your government never happened because we never tried to overthrow their government. Even though we claim we don't like dictatorships, we claim we don't like states that sponsor terrorism, even though literally Osama bin Laden is from Saudi Arabia. He is part of the Saudi Arabian royal, or he was, or allegedly was, part of the Saudi Arabian royal family. We know Qatar sponsors terrorists. Okay. The prominence of the UAE, the Emiratis, is a direct result of U.S. interference, but it's the type of U.S. interference that doesn't involve overthrowing your country. It's the type of U.S. interference where the United States elites benefit from you having the economic power and influence that you have in that region. It's that power of, Emiratis, as long as y'all stay neutral in all the problems that we create, or hell, in the case of Qatar or Abu Dhabi in some cases, they actually help and assist. Our Navy pulls up to Abu Dhabi all the time. We launch operations from there. If y'all stay neutral or help us out, bro, we're going to let y'all prosper. And we're going to let everybody think it's because of y'all. We have been, since the 50s and I want to say since the 70s? I think that the UAE was founded around the 70s, if I'm not mistaken. But basically, since the UAE was founded, we've been giving them millions and millions and billions. We are funding their AI industry. They're trying to make significant advances in AI. We are about to fund that. And they will benefit. The military, like I said, we already give them billions in military aid. And we know where those countries, the UAE, Saudi Arabia, and Qatar, we know who they give that money to, terrorist organizations. And we know who they don't help out. Truly oppressed nations. Nations that would otherwise be able to compete with them. Think about that. When Iraq was under siege by the United States, did the UAE jump in and help them? Did Qatar jump in and help them? No, we were launching operations out of Qatar. Everybody knows if you deploy, where's your first stop when you go to Iraq and Afghanistan? Qatar. No, they helped to overthrow these nations. They helped to destabilize these nations to maintain their economic prominence. So I agree with Clint in a sense, where Clint said, I'll pull it back up for you guys so you can see it if you didn't see it. Where Clint says, whoever wrote this speech deserves a raise. Trump is embracing nationalism and non-intervention. Most importantly, he's demolishing the entire legacy of neoconservatism. He is in that speech. That is what Trump is doing. Right? That's undeniable. The problem that I have with it, where I would part ways with, and he, by the way, Clint liked my tweet where I was like, the only problem with all that shit is it's a lie. That's the problem I have with it. Yeah, you can say all that, but it's a lie. You can say you don't believe in interventionism, but you can't pretend like we didn't just leave Yemen and that you weren't planning on staying. He only left Yemen because we were getting our asses handed to us. New York Times reported on this. There was an 18-month plan that was proposed to Trump. Trump said that to pursue that plan, there needed to be progress, tangible progress that he saw in 30 days. And instead of tangible progress, they got a tangible ass whooping. We spent billions of dollars, lost tens of millions of dollars in drones. F-16s and F-35s almost getting shot out the sky by Houthi defense systems. And there was nothing to show for it. But why were we there? Because we were intervening. That is interventionism. We were intervening in that region of the world. You you see the hypocrisy here? So when I say he kissed the ring, that's what I'm referring to. He's kissing the ring. He's kissing the ring because he knows if he kisses their ring, it will benefit him. It will benefit the elites. All of a sudden, if he pretends to support Sharia law, if he pretends to support Islam, if he compliments the culture, which is literally the total opposite of everything that he campaigned on, everything that his followers talk about, everything that they complain about. How often do we literally half the smears and lies about Palestine? Damn, Bill, I just did a damn segment, y'all. Now, and obviously Bill Maher is not a Trump supporter, but I'm saying I just did a segment on how Bill Maher was echoing the stereotypes of Muslim countries like Palestine, like Yemen, Muslim countries like the ones that make up the UAE and Saudi Arabia. And in fact, none of those stereotypes, ironically, actually apply to Palestine. And all of them, funny enough, apply to Saudi Arabia in the UAE. That's the fucking hilarious part. All the stereotypes that they wanted to say apply to Palestine, ladies and gentlemen, whether it be Bill Maher or Trump or his supporters. None of them apply to Palestine. Oh, women can't go to college. They can't do this. They put religious minorities or have their head chopped off and da-da-da. No, none of that's true. But it is true in the UAE. It is true in Saudi Arabia. Every stereotypical justification they have for dehumanizing Palestinians, for trying to dehumanize Yemeni people, for trying to dehumanize people from Afghanistan, Iraq, Libya, all of those stereotypes, they don't apply to any of those places. They apply to the places that Trump just got done praising. And he said that their culture is responsible for their success. So which is it? Sharia law good, Sharia law bad. Terror is good, terror is bad. Sponsoring terrorism good, sponsoring terrorism bad. I'm trying to understand where the goalpost is at so I know where to aim before old girl pulls the football from under my feet like Charlie Brown. That's basically what would happen. I mean, that's what's going to happen to y'all. It's happening already. Because y'all just, like I said, they just let Trump convince them that he's a non-interventionist. Oh, look at him leaning towards non-interventionism, embracing non-interventionism. No, he tried to intervene. He just didn't do well. He failed at it. So would y'all say that he's intervening or not intervening in South Africa right now? I would put that in the category of intervening. Put sanctions on Burkina Faso. Oh, not just put sanctions on. They literally got this little Carlton, Uncle Tom tap dancing ass motherfucker Langley, General Langley, to come out and try and kick dirt on the name of Ibrahim, to try and manufacture consent to overthrow him. Is that intervention or not intervention, ladies and gentlemen? Out of curiosity. I mean, we're still in Haiti. that hasn't changed. Oh, that whole weird thing with the sending people not back to El Salvador, sending people to a Salvadorian prison based on lies and fake information and fake tattoos like that. Like, is that intervention or non-interventionism? Because I don't know what there's not nationalism. I don't know what that is. But I know that it required a payoff of a Salvadorian president to keep hush-hush what he was doing. And the non-criminals he was bringing into his criminal justice system. What we did in the Red Sea, what we were doing in the Red Sea, interventionism, non-interventionism. The man announced that we're going to take over Gaza. Interventionism or non-interventionism? I'm curious. Like I have no problem celebrating Trump's victories. Y'all know Trump, surprisingly, actually put out an executive order to make prescription drugs cheaper. And that is an amazing thing. And it's amazing because he actually is bypassing Congress to do it. Whereas the Democrats always use the fucking excuse that they couldn't get it done because Congress wouldn't allow them to do it. And they'd always blame the Republicans for not letting them do it, blah, 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 blah. So they did the bare minimum, something about Medicaid and Medicare. We're going to lower prescription drugs, but not all prescription drugs, and not for everybody, just for some people. And Trump said, nah, damn all that. They can negotiate, and it got to be 50% of the prices. If y'all don't negotiate, come up with a good price, it's going to be slashed to 50%. Fuck pharmaceutical industry. That is a great thing, guys. That's an amazing thing. And to be fair to Trump, that's actually kind of consistent with his policies on prescription drugs, because he actually wanted to cut prescription drugs costs before his first term. I remember that. Okay. That's a good thing. That's something that should be celebrated. And it's kind of weird because nobody from his camp, all the influencers, like, they're not talking about that. What is that? Because that actually helps the working class? Is it because like it's not a racist policy or some shit? Like y'all out there cheering for them 50 white people they bring from South Africa. What? But like he actually signed an executive order that will have a significant impact on the working class. Like my mom's insulin will be affordable now. Like I got happy as hell when I heard this news, guys. There are some people who will be able to live now because of this policy, potentially. The pharmaceutical industry is going crazy, attacking Trump because of this policy. Lobbyists are going crazy attacking Trump because of this policy. This is a policy we should be celebrating. Not speeches where Trump is pretending to be something he is not. And we know that because he is demonstrably showing that he is not a non-interventionist based off of his policies and his actions. That motherfucker, he pulled out of Yemen like 3 days ago. He pulled out the Red Sea like 3 days ago, y'all. Like, you can't go from let's bomb them into oblivion, putting out tweets talking about they're never going to attack another American ship again when that wasn't even happening like a week or two ago. And just because he put out of the Red Sea like 3 days ago, after they got their asses handed to them, now he's a non-interventionist because he's kissing me. Like, come on, guys. Show me some consistency. That's all I'm asking for. Because after this guy is out of office, we got to work. I mean, we got to try to work together where we can anyway. But for real, after this guy's out of office, we got to work together. And I'm not feeling too confident right now in our ability to get things done. It is not because I don't want to work with, I don't mind working with the other side. Y'all know how I feel about that. But there is a lack of consistency and an attachment to demagoguery, like an attachment to the ego that does not allow y'all to admit when y'all guy is wrong and you were wrong about him. And that same attachment to your ego and unwillingness to admit when you're wrong can translate to policy and organizing and working with the other side and who you decide to work with and not work with. And like that's a problem. Especially because it's like, bro, when else can you hold him accountable? This is his last term. He's not coming back. This is the time, guys. This is the time to hold him accountable.